Hello, hello, hello.
Hi.
Oh, happy Thursday. How are you?
Yeah, you too. I'm good. Thanks. How are you?
Good. I am so excited to have you in here. And I was just thinking, I'm like, oh
Yeah,
my,
thank you.
I just think about, excuse me, our conversation on Monday and I'm just so happy to be in this space with you. So
Yeah. No, thank you for all of the messages and everything to get us to this point. I really appreciate it. Yeah.
you're so welcome. It is my absolute pleasure. So, what we'll do is we'll go ahead and dive in. I think there should be more people on, but if it's just you and I, that's totally fine too.
Okay.
It's actually great for you, right? But I will share my screen and we are just going to dive right in. Today, we're talking about pre-launch power moves and all the things that we need to do before we launch a new offer. I had a really busy morning this morning, and so I feel like I'm like, okay, I just need to like take a deep breath. I'm happy to be here and get
Yes.
settled in with you guys and not have to like rush around anymore. So let me just pull up. I'll get my screen going
I
here.
will say I have a meeting at 3, so I will,
Absolutely,
or yeah, whatever time that is to you. Oh.
for sure. Yeah, totally fine. No worries. Let me just make sure I have everything pulled up correctly. Yeah, and if you need to turn your screen off or you whatever you need to do, it's totally fine. It's all good. And we'll just let people in and out. We'll dive in today. I'm excited for
Awesome.
day two. I think day one was a really good, like we talked about, like a good foundational,
Yeah,
um,
definitely.
get the mindset in the right spot. And then today we're really going to start to dive into the strategy of launching. And that is again, the pre-launch power move. So I'm just going to make sure, can you see my screen? Okay. It should say launch like a
Yes.
boss. Okay. Amazing. Perfect. And here we go. All right. I'm always like, please work, please work. You know, the spinning
I
rainbow.
know, right? I
Gosh,
know.
yes.
You
Okay,
got
so
it.
yeah, we got it. We got it. Okay, we're all good. And I have to make sure. Remember, there's going to be a giveaway at the end of this program, too. Just a little reminder for you and for anybody else catching the replay. So that giveaway to enter that, all you have to do is just use the chat as often as you want. If there's ever like any big aha moments, or you're like, oh my gosh, this is like life changing, or even if it's not life changing, even if it's just like, oh my gosh, I didn't think about things like that, you can drop it in the chat, or you're welcome to drop
Awesome.
everything in the Facebook group. We can get you guys, we can get you set up if you're not set up in the Facebook group quite yet. We'll take care of that after our call today. So here come a couple more people. Hello, Sarah, and hello, Fada. We're just getting ready. I was just telling Teddy that I had a really busy, kind of like frantic morning this morning. So I'm really happy to just be settled here and be with you and not have to like rush anymore.
Likewise.
So
I'm
yeah.
just gonna turn on my video in a moment. I'm putting away a couple
Oh,
things.
yeah, and you're fine. Again, just a little housekeeping. Like you guys do what you need to do. If you need to turn the camera off, if you need to pick up kids, if you whatever you need to eat, it's all good. You do what you need to do. I'm just thrilled that you're here, and I'm thrilled that we get to dive in today. I was saying, Monday the first call was a lot of mindset stuff and just laying those bricks to build a successful launch. And today we're going to really get to dive into strategy. So my intentions for you, of course, for these next 4 weeks are that you walk away with a really strategic plan that you can implement for any offer that you create, whether it's one-to-one, whether it's high touch, whether your business model looks like you have one offer and that's all you're interested in selling, or maybe you want to have lots of little offers and micro offers and all of that stuff. It does not matter. We're going to build this out together inside this program. And it is not going to be about me handing you a template. It's really going to be about you figuring out what works best for you and us doing that together, of course, through this work. And it's all about just playing with it. I like to look at everything in business as like, I'm just going to play with this. I'm going to see what happens versus like, oh my gosh, I have to make this work. It's really all about trial and error. Everything in business is, and staying in it when things feel hard or things feel like they're not working. So as we dive in today, I was reminding everybody too that we're doing a giveaway. So if there's anything in the chat that you would like to share, anything that came up for you between day one and right now, maybe as you were going through the doc, maybe as you were exploring the content block stock, maybe if you were watching the replay, maybe something that settled a little later, I would love to hear either from you. like you can definitely unmute yourself. This is again a small enough group, or if you want to drop it in the chat, would love to hear. And what I'm going to do in the chat right now, really quick, just because I don't know about, I always get nervous about the technology. So what I'm going to do, I don't know if this is going to be a good idea, if it's going to bite me in the butt, but I'm just going to drop all the links that I'm going to, of stuff that I'm going to be going over. So like you have it all in one spot. This is all going to be like, we're going to go over these things throughout the program, or not throughout the program, but throughout today. So if I'm afraid that I'm going to pull something up and then not be able to share the link. So all the links are right here. If you're confused about anything or you need anything, just again, unmute and let me know. Hi, Meredith. Hi, Nermeen. Okay, so here we go. And again, this program is not just about like the launch strategy. Like it is, of course, but it's really truly about what having a launch strategy will do for you and your business. And essentially, it's going to allow you to have the confidence to think of an offer and move on it and not feel all of the both head drama about like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to sell this. I don't know how to get this out into the world. Like, what am I supposed to be doing? So it's really, for me, this was one really big turning point, and it's really why the program was born, because I was like, this is a game changer and I want that for you. So going back, does anybody want to share anything about anything that came up for them between day one and now? Of course, I'm not going to make you share, just if you would like to.
I'll share that I set the intention on Monday to slam the dock, and I didn't get to open it until right now. So, but what stood with me last time, and I truly appreciate you giving us a whole session to set intentions, because that's something that I do not allow any space for usually, because I always want to get to work, right? I'll tell you that what stood with me was to launch anyway. You know, the accepting that it's not only that it's not going to be perfect, because I think that like part of the perfectionist in us comes from us giving the best to our clients. And so, you know, like, you know me, like, you know, I plan in advance and I want to make sure this is right and whatever, because I respect my people so much and I want to give them the best that I have. But I love that I accepted on Monday that whatever I give them is not going to be the best that I have. Yeah. So, and because after session one, it's going to get better after knowing them. And then after session two, and next, you know what I'm saying? So yeah. Allowing that at least a little bit of room that, you know, like I'm setting the intention for this to be as good as we can for both of us. However, I know that this will be better by the end of the course, and it's going to be better every single time moving forward. And what that does is that not only does it lower the bar a little bit, but it eases up a lot of the stress for you and the people around you.
Oh, absolutely. It's that pressure, right? And I feel that so deeply because, and I know everybody on this call, we never want to give our, like, we are over delivering to our clients, not because we feel like we have to or we have to prove ourselves, but because we want to. We want to give our clients, the best experience, not for anything other than like, we just want to love on them. And so that is so true. And just because your launch doesn't execute perfectly, does it mean that you're still not able to give your clients that amazing experience? Because when we don't launch, when we stay in that like phase of like, I'm planning, I'm tweaking, I'm doing all these things, like nothing's going to happen and nobody's going to be helped. So I love that. And yes, Teddy in the chat said, I really liked how the content block paper was organized. It was very helpful to break it down. And we're actually going to go over that document today a little bit deeper, because I know I kind of just threw it at you at the end of the call on Monday. So we're going to actually go through that a little bit deeper. So if you have an offer in mind, or you've already maybe explored it and filled it out, we can go in and we're going to explore that a little more. So yeah, anything you'd like to share in the chat, please absolutely feel free. The more you use the chat, the more entries into the giveaway you'll have at the end of our program. So I'm just again going to take a deep breath and just get situated and get settled. I'm so happy to be here with you all today. And thank you for bringing your energy and showing up for your business, for you, for your future clients and your current clients too. So today, what to expect, we are talking all about pre-launch power moves. So these are the things that we want to think about before we actually begin the launch process. And this is really important because, again, this is going to have us avoiding throwing spaghetti at the wall, basically, right? Like if you think about it, if you're like, okay, I'm going to launch an offer, there's certain things that need to be in place. And I don't hear these things talked about very often in as far as like launching. So we're going to really just dive in. And today I really want to help you nail your offer, whether you have an offer or you don't already. But I want you to make an existing one or one that you don't even have yet, make it even more irresistible so that it speaks directly to your dream client. Because if you're creating something that speaks directly to them and it is something that they absolutely want, that's like when people are like, okay, I need to be in on this, right? I want to help you gain clarity on your offer's core transformation. So what it is that your person is going to go through the transformation, the person they're going to be at the beginning and the person they're going to be at the end. Or maybe it's more of a strategy based offer, and that's okay too. What they know in the beginning, that first on day one, kind of like you were just describing, Vada, and then what they're going to know at the end of the program with you or the end of their time together with you. Okay. I want you to know exactly who it's for. And again, if you are in a space right now where you're like, I'm not really sure who my ideal client is or what my coaching niche is, that's okay. We just start broad and then we start moving and take action. And through that action, like that's where the clarity comes from. We're going to price it. You're going to like fall over and just with so much joy when I show you what we came up with in my mastermind space this week is like a game changer on pricing. Because how many times have you ever thought, I wish there was like a magic formula to price this, so like I don't have to like think about it. We've come up with like a formula, you guys. It's beautiful. So I'm going to share that with you to kind of help. It's not foolproof, so you are still going to have to sit with it and tweak it to you and what feels good to you. But this is going to be a good start. And I want you to walk away knowing what you're selling and why really it's a no-brainer for your people to be in on it. And again, you might be in a space today where you're like, I'm not sure if I have an offer. I'm not sure like what my offer is. That's okay. We're going to work with what we have. And maybe you do have something. If that's the case, amazing. We're going to work on tweaking that with these prompts and walking through this. Okay. Sound good to everybody? Thumbs up, smile, we're all good? Okay, I can only see some of you, so most of you I can see. I love those smiles. Okay, I teach bar, you guys, and in class sometimes I'll be like, okay, everybody smile. And people just like roll their eyes at me like, oh my God, I'm dying right now. Okay, so here we go. We're going to think first about your secret sauce, because your secret sauce, and this can be described, I've heard this, your unique selling point. This is really just something that you need to identify before you launch anything. So, and it's hard because if I were to ask you, if I were to say to you guys, okay, like, what is your secret sauce? Like, we all want to be like, there's this like block in our brains. It's like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I'm just me. But you have to think about it like this. So the things that you're coaching around, the things that you're consulting around, the things that you're teaching around and doing for your clients, these things are easy for you, but they are not easy for your people. Okay. So let that sink in for a second. Your people, there are people out there that are looking at you going, oh my gosh, I wish I could do that. I wish I could have that. I wish I knew whatever it is that you're coaching around, or I wish I could be that way. That's part of your secret sauce. The thing that you think is like, it's nothing to you. Like, I don't even think twice about this anymore. Your client is looking at that. Your dream client is looking at that and going, oh my gosh, this is amazing. So if you think, I have a little process too here, like to go through to identify or start to identify your secret sauce, like what makes you amazing inside this offer. And it's okay if a lot of these like questions and prompts are going to stump you right now. They're kind of intended to. They're kind of intended to like make you think. And then I don't expect you to have answers right away, but in order to make that forward progress, like you got to think about these things and you've got to kind of like open that door in your brain to what it is that makes you like so amazing as a coach or as a consultant or as whatever it is that you do. Okay. So the first step, if you're thinking about your A plus, like dream unicorn clients, okay, so this is the person that sits in front of you. She or he shows up to every session. She follows through. She does her commitments. She's so eager. She's so engaged with you. She's asking questions. She's like all there. So we're thinking about that person, okay? If you were to put a couple of those clients side by side, and I already know where some of your brains are going to go. Some of your brains are going to go, but wait, like I haven't had any clients yet. Even if you haven't had any clients yet, you're going to create this person in your head, or you're going to think about instances where you've done this work. It might not have been in the exact same situation, but there is a spot in your life where you have helped someone through this transformation. You can even sit in that seat, like as one of these people yourself, because you've been through this transformation. So if you're thinking about you're thinking about an A plus unicorn dream client, and maybe you have 2 or 3 of them sitting all side by side. If you look at the commonalities across the board, okay, you're looking at the commonalities and you're like, what do all of these people have in common? What is like the through line? And for me, when I did this, I actually sat down and I journaled on this and I wrote down like my people that I was thinking of, myself included, because at that time I didn't have a whole lot of clients. So I'm like, I'm just going to put myself down. And while yes, like I started to pick out, like I just would write down all of the things that we did together. So like we worked on this. She had this question. We worked on this. Oh, remember when she had this big win? I just dumped it all out. So there's 3 columns, dump it all out. After doing that, stepping away from it and then coming back to it and looking at it and going, oh, there are commonalities. Maybe we coached around different things. Like maybe, yes, this person and I worked on business building. Yes, this person and I didn't work on business building at all, but worked on this transition in her life. There are still commonalities throughout that are deeper than just the surface level, what you did. Okay, and I'm going to give you an example of this. So if I'm thinking about my dream client, right? Yes, there are parts of like this that she wants to build a business. She wants to get more clients. She wants to help other people with her work and her coaching. But it was more than that. It wasn't just about that. All of these people had in common, the thing that they really had in common was that they wanted to live life on their own terms, right? They didn't want to be going to a 9-to-5 job. They didn't want to be reporting to anybody else. And so that term, even though we were working on different things, they weren't the same and it was different. You know, coaching is very customized, right? I pulled that out and was like, oh, this is the thing. Like my secret sauce is helping women see that they can live life on their own terms. And for my clients, life on their own terms doesn't look the same for everybody. It looks different for each person. But that for me right now is part of my secret sauce. That's part of the through line. So it's not, again, just about me like helping women build businesses. Yes, that's part of it, of course, but it's more about helping them create things that they didn't think were possible before. Okay. And that really leads to the next question, which is what transformation do I help create? Yeah, I help women create businesses, but I also help them live life on their own terms again. And so that term, just kind of wherever I go, I can coach around business, I can coach around mindset, I can coach around whatever it is. The through line for me is that I help women live life on their own terms. And the way that I tie this to my secret sauce, like how do I tap this into me? Because I mean, really, they could go anywhere. And there are lots of coaches who I'm sure would say, I'll help you live life on your own terms. But for me, the secret sauce, like my secret sauce is that I've been through it. Like I've done it and I'm living life on my own terms now. So I get to lead with that like transformation of myself. And I get to share that with other people now. And again, part of my secret sauce too is I know, because I was a teacher, because I have this background, because I know I've literally sat with a group of 35-year-olds in front of me, and each one of those kids needed something different, and I know how to handle that. I can sit down and I can help someone in a way that works for them. That's part of my secret sauce. I'm not handing them a template and being like, here, do this. I'm like, I don't want to use this teacher word, but like I can differentiate to help anybody do this in a way that feels good for them. So I'm kind of seeing your guys' like wheels turn in here. And I'm curious what is coming up for you all. If you're open to sharing, I would love to hear.
I can share. Hi, Sandy. Good to see
I saw you, I was like, she's
you. You're like,
thinking.
she's thinking about something. So I was
I like-
thinking about something that came up, I think even in the last of these workshops, I can't remember, the one that I was a part of before this. I know Farah was in it too. Why can't I think of the name of it? What was your last mini session
Oh.
anyway? I remember there was someone in our last kind of mini session who was saying something about the core transformation she wanted to help her clients through. And I remember we ended up in a discussion that was like, but do they think that's the core transformation that they need? And I'm kind of bumping up against this because I mean, some of you on here know, some don't, that I do career coaching. And I just had kind of a, maybe we'll call it a soft launch, I don't know, of a group coaching cohort. And I went through a process and got some traction and started figuring out some things. And I think I'm going to break it down into some smaller pieces instead of a longer 4-month thing. But I was thinking about the transformations are that most of the time, you think, oh, you're a career coach. The transformation is that somebody finds a new job. But like that almost never happens at the exact time that I'm coaching somebody. Like there's a million other things that happen that they, wade through their uncertainty about which way to go next. They clarify some things for themselves. But those kinds of things, in some ways, they don't, I don't know that that's what some of them might identify, like, I'm just having trouble even figuring out what to do next. Some of them say that. But I think a lot of them are like, oh, well, so have you gotten other people a job before? Like you're a career coach.
Yeah.
Is that the goal?
Yeah, so there's so much wrapped in that, Meredith. And I think so as far as the transformation goes, I always say, like, you're not gonna wanna, and I know you don't do this, but like, we don't wanna lead with like words like, I'll help you find clarity, I'll
Yes.
help you align. Like, a lot of people don't know what that means or what that is. Like, that's what you're gonna do with them inside this space. But we have to lead. So, like, we have to lead with what they think they need, but also taking it a level deeper. So
Yeah.
I think you're thinking about the transformation too, and your secret sauce as like the same thing too. The transformation is going to be who they are or what they have or what they know at the end of your time together, right?
Yeah.
Your secret sauce is really what you bring to the table in a way that nobody else can.
Mhm.
So, like, reflecting back to you, like your experience up until this point in all of the areas that you've had, like part of your secret sauce, Meredith, and you coined this in that term, like therapy for your career, right? You're not just helping people find a job, you're actually digging in to like what they value and what they actually want in their life.
Yeah.
And that goes so much farther than a 6-session package, right? That they take that with them forever. But
Right.
they're not coming in going, gosh, Meredith, I really need to find clarity around what I value. Like they're not
Yeah.
saying, they're not complaining about that at happy hour, right? And so
Yes.
that's why we're going to get into the messaging piece of this. But as far as your secret sauce goes, I definitely think too, like we have to tap into all of our experiences beforehand, all of the things that we bring to the table, and really the reason why
Yeah.
and the transformation and your secret sauce, yes, they're going to overlap because you're helping them with the transformation because of your secret sauce, right? Because of your USP, because you're able to bring things to the table in this way. So some other questions, is that helpful? Or
It is interesting to kind of think about what you said around something that people take with them forever is kind of an interesting way of thinking about this, because what I hear from people is that this is at the end of my one-on-one coaching primarily is they might say things like, I am actually listening to myself, or I'm trusting myself, or I'm being clear about blah, 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 blah. I mean, they actually name those as the core transformation.
Mhm.
I don't think that they came with that idea that they were looking for that. I think
Yep.
they get that, and that is part of the secret sauce. So I feel like I'm having just a minor, like, a need to ensure that I'm tapping into the feelings that they have underneath their uncertainty about their job, because you're right, and Farah, I totally appreciate that. Yeah. Most people don't. I mean, in the end, when I say what are the goals of working with me, they sometimes might say find a job, but they'll usually couch it by saying, I don't really expect you to find me a job.
Yeah. And we're gonna get into that too about like you don't want a person in your space that's just there to be like, Meredith, find me a job.
Right. Right.
We don't, nobody wants that. I know nobody in the space wants that. Like, here, fix this, build my business, like whatever it is. Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, we're gonna dive. We'll deep. I can't talk. We'll dive a little bit deeper into that in just a bit too when we talk about messaging. But I think it is important too, and you're welcome in the Facebook group too to like hash this out. Even if you want to say like something like, I think this is what my secret sauce is. What is this like? What comes up for you when you think of this? Because it's important, and it's important that you know it and that you are able to also own it. And we don't, again, I said this before, I'm like, you've done so many incredible hard things up until this point. And all of those things like are part of your secret sauce. Like you essentially are your secret sauce, right? You are the sauce. You're the sauce. Okay. So a couple other questions to help with this too.
Lip sync that exact same phrase. I said, when you said you are the sauce, that's exactly what I said. I said, you are the sauce. So funny. So good. She really is.
Yeah. And then another question, and Meredith, you kind of tapped into this because they're definitely related. What transformation does it create? And if you have a specific offer in mind, great. If you're just kind of thinking about your ideal client as like an ideal client right now, that's okay too. But what transformation, like what do you want people to walk away with your time together with, or who do you want them to be? And it's always a lot deeper than the surface level thing. Like we said, like you're doing things that are essentially going to change people's lives all the way through, like after the package is over, like, and that's huge. Another question, why is your process powerful, even if it's simple? Okay, I've had lots of clients, especially in my mastermind space, say, but I just am doing X, Y, Z. And I'm like, well, what's the power in the simplicity? Why is that really, really like what do you bring? And how is you teaching that simple process XYZ? How is that helping your clients? And then what makes this different from other offers in your niche? This is something that I used to get so hung up on, you guys, because I would be like, I'd sit there and be like, okay, I got to make this really, really different. I got to make this something that nobody's ever seen before. It's like nothing that anybody's ever seen. And it's so like revolutionary. It doesn't have to be different than anything else. The thing that makes it different is what you bring, your secret sauce. Okay, so let that sink in for a second. If you're feeling like it has to be totally like fireworks different, oh my gosh, never before seen, revolutionary, this thing that nobody's ever done before, take that pressure off of yourself. It gets to be simple, but you also have to infuse why it's different. And if it's simply because I'm doing it, yeah, no worries. Yes, we'll get you the replay and we'll get you all set up. Thank you. It's simply, if it's you, it's fine. It's all good. Like that gets to be what makes you different. That gets to
Say that
be.
again? It cut out.
Okay, so what makes you leading this offer different? You're part of the secret sauce. And it's also too, you guys, it's part of deeply, deeply understanding your client's desires and pain points. I come back to this constantly, and I don't think there is ever a point that we get to in our businesses or our coaching spaces where we're like, oh, I know my ideal client perfectly, and it's never going to change again. We are constantly digging in to understanding like what it is she needs, what it is she wants, what it is she desires. Because the next step here is tapping in and getting that really clear messaging. So I'm going to ask you guys, I think some of you have grabbed this already or you've seen this before. This is what it looks like. It's the content blocks for new offers. This is something that I started using, and this is before. Do you guys have this in the chat? You should have it in the chat. Let me see if I can grab it again. I dropped it in there and then hoped that it. Here again. But this is something that I created after many, like launching many times. And like, I'm telling you, before any new offer, I sit down with this document. Can you guys give me a thumbs up if you have this? And like, do you have this? Okay, so I don't need to stress if you don't have it. Okay, let me pull it up here. Do you guys see my rainbow spinner of death here? Can you see the thing spinning? It's just spinning. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to do my best to walk you through this. And what we're going to do, this is something that I have started doing before I launch any offer. I sit down with this document and I get so in touch with the offer. And before I talk about the offer, before I post anything about the offer, before I create a sales anything for the offer, before I create a checkout link, before I start inviting people, this is where I start. So this top part, I'm going to walk through this with you just so it's a little bit clearer. I threw this at you guys at the end of the last session on Monday, but I just want to walk through with you just to kind of show you what a game changer this really can be. Oh, I'm spinning again. Okay, so the top part here is all just, it basically is like prompts and bullet points. Okay, so I'm going to scroll all the way down because what I did is I gave you an example at the very bottom of one of my offers, and I put this offer in here. I put launch like a boss. So you can kind of see before I invited anyone into this space, before I like sent any messages or talked to anybody about it, this is where I started. So I start with title of the offer. And when you title an offer, it's really important that when you do title it, that there's clarity around what the person is going to walk away with afterwards. And we'll talk about the title in just a second. I have a slide on it, but then a little tagline. The tagline is a little bit longer. It's a sentence or two, just talking about what, again, in a little bit more depth about what they're going to walk away with or who they're going to walk away being. So the tagline should be short, it should be sweet, it should be to the point, and really the offer and the tagline are going to help the person. What we want to happen is we want someone to land on this offer or land on this page or wherever they land on a piece of content, whatever it is. And we want them to be able to distinguish right away, this is for me or this is not for me. So they need to be able to like say, oh yeah, like I'm launching, like I launch things, like that would resonate with the person that would come into this program because you're launching offers, right? And then the tagline, my program on how to stop winging your launches, because I know that's what she's doing right now. And just saying spots are open. I know that's what she's doing because that's what I did before too, to launch and sell out your offers like a boss. There's also a desire in here to sell out your offers, okay? These first two parts where it says, this is for you if, I do those last. So those are at the very end. These stay blank until the very end. So I scroll down and I start with what we're going to be talking about. This is essentially where your modules are going to go. Okay, this is where, oh, thank you for putting that in the chat, Fada. I just noticed that you put that in there. Thank you so much. So what you're talking about, these are like your modules. These are like the lessons or the things that the topics you're going to be talking about. These are most likely going to be linked to your brand pillars somehow. It's not going to be something that's really off the wall, but it's going to be connected to you and your brand. And like for this program, right? These are the things that we're going to be talking about throughout the program, right? We're talking about pre-launch power moves today. We're talking about the strategy suite, the mindset, nailing your offer, all of these things. So this is like the not the logistical piece, but the what we're going to be doing inside, what we're actually going to be talking about. Now, if this is a bigger container, this is an example for a group program. So this is very specific to like launching. This program is specific to launching. So these things are really specific to launching. If it's like a one-to-one container or a mastermind space, and there's not really like a topic to it, right? Like you don't come into one-to-one coaching saying, oh, we're only going to talk about launching. No, it's a bigger umbrella that's opened up here. You can write those things about that bigger umbrella under here. The things that you've done with your clients in this space before. It's the what we're going to be doing here. And what this does is, you can see here, I kind of labeled it. This leads to, once you have this out, it's going to help you create content for it. This document, once you have it filled out, literally makes creating content during a launch so easy, because it's all right here. It's all out of your brain, and you're not sitting there thinking, oh gosh, what do I need to post today? Like, what do I need to, what can I send an email out today? It's all right here. And so this caters to the analyzer buyer. If we're thinking about different buyer types, which we're going to get into, and I'm probably going to say like a lot of things that maybe you're like, wait, did I miss something? But I promise you, we're going to get to all of it. It's just hard to like lay it all out because it all overlaps so much. Okay. So then we go into, you're ready to feel. So how does this person want to feel? But in order to know how she feels, we have to understand how she's currently feeling, right? Like where she's starting off. So I know that right now she does not feel necessarily super confident about launching her offers. It probably feels, and you guys, literally, to fill this out, I take myself and I put myself in my old like version of myself when I wasn't understanding at all how to launch an offer. When literally what I would do is put a couple stories up and go, sponsor open, come join me, I'm a coach. And then I would be like, how come nobody's signing up, right? I did not feel confident in what I was doing. I felt like I was using my fingers crossed strategy that something would take, and hopefully this looks like how other people are doing it, so maybe this will work for me. That's how I felt. So I want you to feel at the end of this, to feel unshakably confident that whatever offer you have, you're going to be able to like throw it out there, put it out into the world strategically, so you know that it's going to fill. I felt really out of control, so I know that she wants to feel in control. I know that when I started launching new offers, I did not feel empowered. I felt terrified to sell, not excited, not empowered. I felt literally shitting my pants, terrified to sell anything. Okay. So then the next one, I know she feels like I said, overwhelmed. She does not feel organized. She does not feel like she has a plan. She feels like she's winging it day by day, and that's not a good feeling. The next one is, you're ready with actions. So things like you're actually, like she's actually going to do. So after going through this program, she's going to be able to launch with confidence and put her offer into the world without any of the second guessing, without waiting, without having to run it by, your coach or your mentor. You just move and you go with confidence. She's going to be able to sell with strategy and not feel icky about it. And she's going to be able, this is essentially going to allow her to take control of her income, because you can launch an offer and make money coming into the account, which allows you to feel more in control of that piece that oftentimes feels out of our control. Okay. And with this document, I just want to say it will feel like you're repeating yourself. And that's okay, because what that's doing is it's getting us even deeper into who this person is and who this, like connecting on an energetic level and a strategic level with the actual offer, right? So the main pain points, you're going to list those out here. like this offer is going to help with. And this is, again, just an example. You're going to put your examples in here for your offer. So it helps by a step-by-step launch strategy with the content and messaging that's going to build hype. That's literally what this document does and what we're working on right now. It's going to help her sell in a way that feels authentic and not annoying or car salesman-y. I know so many of my clients have said to me before, I don't want to be annoying. I don't want to like, oh, like there's so many things that come up. We're going to address all of that, mindset tools and the skills to launch, repeat over and over and over again. Okay. Now, something that I don't think is addressed very often when we're thinking about an offer, and I want you to think about this moving forward. So any offer that you have, short-term, long-term desires, okay? And this goes for short-term offers, so like a quickie in and out offer. If it's like a day in box or even like, you got to know what her short-term desire is. And this is things that are going to happen quickly by being in this offer with you. So I know that she wants right now, a quick thing would be to sign clients, to launch an offer without feeling overwhelmed, and to attract clients that are ready to buy, not people that you're feeling like you have to convince. And also to feel like she's not making it up as she goes. Once you go through this program, you're not going to feel like you're making it up. You're going to feel like you have a very strategic plan, a step-by-step plan to follow as you launch your offers. Now, the part that I think is not addressed as often as it should be when we're thinking about this is things that are going to happen over time by being in this offer with you. So Meredith, this taps into too, like what you were just saying, like the longer term things. So if you know how to launch an offer and you go through this program with me, essentially, and you implement and you work through all this and you take action, that's going to create consistent, predictable outcomes in your business. That's a long-term outcome. And that's something too, this is a deeper thing, because this is essentially what creates the freedom that allows people to live life on their own terms, which, going back to the secret sauce part, you got to know like what that is in order to understand these long-term desires. Confidence to lead like a real CEO and not just somebody that's like playing around. You're like, oh, I think this is like, I hope this works. No, like it's not about figuring it out. It's like, we're going to make this work. Long-term desire is to be known for your signature offer. So to create an offer that you put out there and you are well known for, that you're able to repeat launch over and over and over again. You're welcome, Meredith. And then more time freedom. Now, this next prompt, I love this next prompt because it really helps. And again, you're going to feel like we're repeating ourselves, but what he or she is doing that's getting in the way of these short and long-term results. Okay. This is going to lead to polarizing content in your messaging when you create messaging, and it allows you, if we're talking buyer types, it's going to allow you to speak directly to the polarizing buyer that likes to be called out on the things that she's doing that are like that are getting in the way. And this is going to be, it's going to feel similar to a pain point, but we're gently just kind of acknowledging and pushing. And maybe you're a person that's not even gentle. Maybe you're just calling her out and being like, okay, this is like, you're doing this and now you got to do this. So you list all of those things here. She's waiting for things to be perfect and ready. She's avoiding selling. She doesn't really have a launch strategy. All of these things are getting in the way of the short and long-term desires here, okay? The next section is, what is she believing that's getting in the way? So this is the mindset part of it. Not only what is she doing, but what is she believing that's getting in the way? Maybe she's believing she has to do something or it has to be a certain way. You're going to list those things here. So a common one for this is like, I'm not ready to launch. The fear around what if nobody buys, everything needs to be perfect. This whole hustle idea of like, in a launch, I have to really like grind and be up all night and wake up early and make sure, everything's done. Those things are just simply not true. And I'm going to prove to you in this program why they're not true. Another great question: if you were a fly on the wall in her office, what would you see her doing? So, and I'm talking like, let's get specific here. Like with this one, I'm like, she's bouncing between Canva, Instagram, her notes app, and a training replay. Like there's all these tabs open, but she doesn't really know what to do. And she's trying to like piece stuff together and put stuff together to figure out like what I'm supposed to do, but then that just leaves her feeling really overwhelmed. That's really specific to the person that this is for. And the more specific that you can get, always the better. Okay. I just listed a bunch of things here, and a little pro tip here, you guys. What I do is I will sit down with this document and I'll fill it out the best that I can with my ideas, with what I remember from being in this time frame, like all the things that I think. And then ChatGPT is a really great resource for this too. These pink like prompts, you can throw those directly into ChatGPT, and ChatGPT can help you pull out things, because I love this prompt too. What is she saying to her friends at happy hour when she's complaining about the pain points for this offer? And of course you have to train ChatGPT to like know, what the offer is and about you and your business and all that. But these things are the things that she is going to see in your messaging, in your emails, in your content. And she's going to go, oh my God, how did she know? Right? This is where we avoid using like she's not going to happy hour and saying like, I need to feel better aligned in my life. Like she's not saying that, right? She's saying, I know I need to launch this offer, but I keep like psyching myself out and like, what the fuck? Like I need help, right? The more you can dig into this and the more you can really use, or even when you're on client calls or you're on sales calls, anytime somebody says something to you in her own words, write it down and add it to this document, or add it to wherever it would fit in. I have one of these documents for every single offer. I have it for my one-to-one coaching clients. I have it for my mastermind space. I have it for every micro offer, every mini mind that I launch. I have this written out. So it's very, very clear to me, and I'm very connected to who this is for. Now, this why me part, this is going to go to the emotional buyer and help you create emotional storytelling content once we're there. And we'll walk through that whole process too. And this ties back to your secret sauce, right? So why your experience and your knowledge makes you the best person to teach someone about this or lead someone through this transformation. And again, it's like if I took myself out of my body and I wanted to brag about myself basically and say like why I'm so good at what I do or why I'm the best person to do this is what I would tell like people, right? So those things, those are like the bulk. Now what I do at the top here, once I'm done with those things, I'll go back to the very top, these content blocks, okay? And what I do, literally all I do is copy and paste 2 to 3 pain points. So I literally went to the bottom of the document, I copy and pasted 2 of the pain points, and then 2 to 3 short and long-term desires. So here's a short-term desire. Here are 2 long-term desires. So I just bump those in there. Now, when I go to show up on social media, I have pain points or emails or in conversations, whatever it is. I have pain points. I have long-term desires. I'm not trying to like think about, oh my God, what am I going to post about today? What am I going to say today? I literally just will pull stuff from right here. And this is a great, like, I don't know if you guys have seen in my stories before when I'm launching an offer or when I'm selling an offer, I'll put either like, I'll start with like a hook, and then somewhere in there, I'll have this information, because this is what makes people go, oh, that's me. Like you've painted a really great picture of where I am right now, but also where I want to go and how I want to feel. I'm tapping into the feelings, and I'm also tapping into what the doing part of it. So now, again, when I go to show up, I'm like, oh my gosh, I have everything right here. It's very easy for me. And I do 2 of these. So I pull 2 of them. They're different, but they're all the same. Still 2 to 3 pain points, 2 to 3 short-term and long-term desires. So I just can alternate between the 2 of them. And what I could even do on a day where I'm like, okay, I'm in the middle of a launch. I know I want to talk to the analyzer buyer. I'm just going to go to this part, what we'll be talking about, and I'm going to pull something. And I might, like for this day, I might create a carousel post breaking down what I know somebody needs to do before they launch. And then I might at the end leave a call to action that says something like, if you want more, or you're interested, or this resonated with you and you want more, this Launch Like a Boss program is going to be perfect for you. So I'll do that. Are there any questions? Sarah, are you good? Do you have any questions?
Sorry, I'm having to multitask, but I do have a question. But it's actually so incredibly helpful. Can you just explain, and I will rewatch the recording, but the blocks, like I get the
Yeah.
content within it, but how do you utilize the blocks?
Okay, so good question. So the main reason that I utilize anytime that I talk about my offers, so if I'm going to send an email, if I'm going to create a podcast episode, if I'm going to create a piece of content, anything, I always want to have somewhere in there the words, this is for you if. So by having this all mapped out here, literally all I do is copy and paste this. This is for you if. And all of this right here comes from everything on the bottom. So I think that part is clear, but how I utilize this is I take it. Oh, you're so welcome. I'll just take that and I'll pick it up and I will literally put it into story slides. I'll put it into an email, and that's why I have 2 of them. So I can go back and forth. I could even make 3 of them if I wanted to, because I have enough, stuff to do that. But that's really how I utilize those like blocks all as a whole. Individually, what I can do is I can pull up if I'm like, okay, what do I want to I want to talk about my offer today. How do I want to talk about it? Oh, I want to talk about a pain point today. So I can just grab one of those pain points and create a whole post just on that, or a whole email just on that. What this is basically doing is it's giving me, it's taking like the brain work out of moving through a launch without having to like recreate the wheel every single time I go to show up or I go to talk about it. Does
So
that
are
make
you matching totally? And I get the pain to dream concept. So is the idea that like block 1 is one set of pains and desires, and then block 2 is a different set, or is it mixed and match? If that makes sense.
It's kind of mixed and match. Well, okay. So the pain points, let me see what I did here. So you have no real launch strategy. So I went down, what I did, I think I went down to what is he or she doing? So I will just copy this. I'll paste it up at the top, like for a pain point. I'll do the same for number 2. For the last 4, I'll do 2 short-term desires and 2 long-term desires. So I'm tapping into both equally. I believe that what people tend to not talk about as much are the long-term desires, because the long-term desires take longer, right? And people are coming in because they want a quick fix, but it's just as important to talk about those long-term desires as it is to talk about the short-term ones too. So it's always, for me, it's always 2 to 3 pain points. So something that they're really struggling with, something that they're like, I really wish that I'm worried about this. So those are all pain points. Those first 3 are all pain points. And then the last 2 to 3 are going to be a mix of short-term and then long-term desires.
For the specific pain or for the general pain? That's what I'm wondering.
That's for the general. Yeah, just for the general. Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's okay.
but it's all connected to like
Totally.
it won't be like something really random, because it's all very much connected in that way. But yeah, it's not. Yeah, no. I see your question.
Like the career stuff is one, and then the next time it's all about the life stuff. But no, it's mixed basically. Using Meredith's example.
Yeah, using Meredith's example. Yeah, okay, so let's use Meredith's example. Okay, so her pain points would probably be, maybe there would be one that's like, what is her pain point? What is her ideal client saying at happy hour? And it might be something about, oh my God, I freaking hate my job so much. I wish I could get out of here. Whatever. The second pain point might be about, oh, I just feel all day like I feel really unhappy and I can't put my finger on why. Like I just feel really unfulfilled, even though I have this great job that everybody said I would love. So it's all kind of connected, right? And then the desires would be I don't want to put words in like Meredith's mouth or whatever, but like the desire would probably be, gosh, if I could have a new job where I felt
Totally. Yeah.
like excited, happy, that would be so amazing. A long-term desire would be to find like joy in any job that I would be like in, and to feel so solid in myself that it doesn't matter what job I'm in, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I'll tell you, you're so welcome. Thank you for asking and for clarifying. I will tell you too, offers like this one, like that are specific into like that are very specific to a topic are a little bit, from my experience, are easier to do this document around because it's so targeted and it's so to a pain point, right? It's pretty clear, like it's targeted. Whereas one-to-one coaching and like my mastermind space, it took me forever to figure this out because it's just so broad. Like they could come to you for so many different things. But then it's about at that point is again pulling back layers to be like, what's the deeper desire? What are the deeper wants here? And then it's okay if in those types of offers, like you're talking, like you might have different blocks that like this one maybe talks about one part of your offer. And then this one maybe talks about another part of your offer. Like if your business or if your coaching is around different things, again, there's usually an umbrella, right? When people come to us, it's not going to be about a very, very specific, like I only work on this thing with my clients. It's like, no, we work on all these different things. And another question too, when you're creating this for those bigger offers that seem a little bit harder to narrow in on, is to go with what you love to coach around or what you could talk about all day, every day. That's going to be like, and that's how you start to speak to your, in those blocks to those people, right? Does that make sense?
It does. Could I ask one clarifying question? And I'm sorry, I'm had to like be in and out, and I will have to hop in a second for a call at 3:30. But
Okay, don't apologize.
in summary, like let's take your offer.
Yeah.
Business coaching. Let's say like I want to launch a business. So
Yeah.
are we speaking to the direct like people thinking they want to launch a business? Or are you speaking, and I think you talked about this, but in summary, are we talking about wanting to launch the business or the freedom, like you talked about this last session, the freedom to pick up your kids, like, and the need versus the want? How do you frame it?
So here's what I do, and here's what I have found for my clients that works, that has worked the best so far. I will say that you speak to the thing that they think they want.
Yeah.
So when people come to me, like they might think they want, like, oh, okay, let me backtrack. So I'm going to use because I think you and I kind of do something similar too, which is super cool. Like we help
I think
women.
you're more like I'm a little more introductory. You're like, once you're established, I'm not helping people with this. This is like techniques.
Okay.
I'm like the pre-stage, and then they could come to you.
What I found is that when I said, let me stop and share this. When I would lead in my content with, I help women build businesses, because that was my tagline for a long time. I was like, I don't know, I was getting people that would come to me and they would want the checklist, right? They would want a checklist for like how to build business. Tell me what to do, and they were expecting to walk away at the end of the 6 months or whatever with the business and that's making money and doing the things. And we know that that's not really what it's about, right? So when I started to shift and I dug into like, what's the secret sauce? What's the through line? It's not necessarily about helping people build businesses. It's about helping people live life on their own terms.
Right.
That's when my tagline kind of shifted to, I help women build businesses so that they can live life on their own terms. And I started to magnify more about what it means to build a business, because nobody wants a business. Nobody wants a new career. Nobody wants like a better mindset. What they want is what comes with that.
Right.
So what comes with it? When you're able to help somebody set up the foundational pieces of their business, well, they're not feeling like chaotic anymore. They feel like there's a chance that they could actually, leave their real job and do this thing. They feel like they know in those pockets of time that where they're working, most likely at their other job, and they're trying to build this thing. Now they're really clear about what to be doing to move the needle forward versus just feeling really busy all the time and not really like getting anywhere with it.
Makes sense.
Things that I would be speaking to, but also speaking to like the business part of it, because we do like it's all combined, but it's just peeling back the layers and digging in a little bit deeper to like, okay, what does that thing actually mean for them?
Yeah.
And when we start to dig into that and we start to speak from that space, that's when the clients that don't want the checklist, or that's when like the people come to you and go, yes, I'm in this and I'm ready and I'm dedicated to this and this is what I truly want. It's not the quick fix people, right?
Love it. Yeah. Amazing. I always struggle with that. Yeah.
No, I know. And it's hard, but it's hard because again, you're like, well, we gotta avoid using like the like abstract, like, oh, clarity and things that people are like, I don't know what that means. Like sometimes I think even mindset, I'm like, I don't
Yeah.
even mean that. They just want to feel good. Like,
Yeah.
like in coaching, I'm gonna help you feel good. I'm gonna help you feel better. But you wouldn't buy from somebody that says that to you. You wouldn't buy from somebody that says, I'm gonna help you feel better. Because you'd be like, well,
I already
how?
feel good. Yeah.
Or yeah, or I already feel good, or like feel better how? Like as a parent, feel better as a in my own body, feel better in my health. Like that's where the specificity comes in, where we can be like, I'm gonna help you feel better. And here's what I mean when I say feel better. I mean, when you sit down to work your business, you don't feel like you're like pulling up a Google Doc and then staring at it and going, I don't know what to like, I don't know what to do with my time. Like that's how I help you feel better. It might be in it, and that's where the specificity again comes in. So, yay. Okay. So, Teddy, to catch you up really quick, we just went over this doc. So, make sure you can check. Wait, hold on. That's not the right thing. Hold on. You can see, hold on. I'm getting all, sorry. Now I
And
have
I'm
to
gonna
like,
go back and rewatch too, so it's okay.
I was just gonna say, you can go back and you can, oh, I lost Zoom. Where did you guys go? Yeah, you can go back and rewatch. I just went into it in a little bit more depth. And again, if you want to drop anything in the Facebook group, please feel free to do that there. So, and I know we're at the hour mark right now, so if anybody has to go, please feel free to go. But okay, so the next little phase here, who your offer is for and who it's not. And we tapped into this a little bit on Monday, but what you can do too is just kind of make a little like side by side list here. I don't know if you guys have ever done this before, but this can be really, really helpful. And I gave some examples here too about like who the offer is for. So as often as we think about who it's for, I also think it's important to decide who it's also not for. So as far as this offer goes, this offer is for someone who has at least one base offer and is planning to possibly create more. So you have something to offer. You're not coming here with like no idea about what you want to sell. It's for someone who's ready to learn, to put the work in and be patient when it comes to learning the launch process. This is not for someone who's looking for a quick like band-aid fix instead of a long-term solution as far as launching goes. And then it's also for someone who's had at least some experience selling something versus somebody who's never sold anything to anybody before, right? And this too, in the chat, let me see here. In the chat, I dropped the document for, where is, okay, so this is my example. So in this program too, you guys, it's pretty straightforward. It is like it's around a specific targeted topic. If you're, I think it's just as important, and that's why what I just talked through is pretty straightforward, like who it's for and who it's not. But I also really encourage you to take a look at like your bigger, deeper offers, like your mastermind spaces, your longer term spaces, your one-to-one coaching, and think about, and this document is linked in the other document, so you have access to this. This is literally my example, and I brought this here because I know we talked about it on Monday, but thinking about who they are, thinking about how they see themselves, thinking about how self-aware and resourceful they are, thinking about their general like demeanor, like not just like what their job is or how much money they make, but what do they, this question is so freaking powerful. What do they need to bring to the table in order for you to want to work with them also? Okay, this is not just about you trying to like convince people to work with you. This is like vetting them and also them vetting you. So I just gave a little example here about who, and this isn't for a specific offer. This is for just in general, like my ideal client. Pretty much everybody that comes into my space, like will fall into these categories. I could very well do it for anybody that's in a specific offer. And that's kind of what I just walked through on that last slide. But this is really, and you're welcome. I just went crazy on listing out like this person that I love to work with and who I want to work with, right? Like she doesn't need to be told she's worthy or that she needs to invest. Like she's already knows she's worthy. She already is investing. This is not new to her, right? She believes mentorship is a two-way thing, not just me, fixing her business or fixing her or whatever she thinks, right? She continues to bet on herself over and over, like all of these things. And you're welcome to take these, copy and paste them into your notes app, adjust them as you want. But it's just as important to who it's not for. And I'll tell you guys, these who it's not for have come from working with a lot of people that I was like, oh, there were red flags. And I just pretended like those red flags, I just ignored them. And I'm like, I'm just going to sign them on. And then it just didn't turn out well, right? So like high maintenance, everything has to feel perfect, where I feel like I have to perform for them, or I'm like, ooh, doing all of these things. I'm not your therapist. Oh, that was a fun one. But you guys can take these and you can adjust them. You can add to the list. This is a growing list. Anytime I have like a new client in or somebody comes to me, I'm just like, oh my gosh, this person's so awesome. And I'll add stuff to this list because it's like compile the list of like who I want to work with, who it's for. And then you can also do this too for a specific offer. And that's what this one looks like for Launch Like a Boss. Okay. So important to think about who it's for. Now, pricing with confidence. Okay. I know we're pretty way over time, but I want to share with you because this always comes up. Like, how do I price my offer? Right? What do I do? Like, wish there was a magic formula to price my offer. Your price really, you guys, should reflect your value that you bring to the table, not your fear. Okay, not you're scared to like sell or you're scared to say a certain amount of money. It reflects what you bring to the table. And if you think of how much time and energy and effort and even money that you've invested to like grow your craft and to understand and to be a better coach and to every single breakthrough that you've had in your own spaces as a client contributes to your value. Okay. So it's not just about, oh, I charge $150, per session. So I guess, it's about everything that you bring to the table. And really, again, those long-term things that your person is going to walk away with after she or he is in this space with you, right? And when we price, it really should feel like a stretch, but also a match. So you feel a little stretch, like you feel a little like, oh, this is exciting, but also not outrageous. Like, I'm going to charge $1 million for a VIP day. Like I just couldn't get behind selling that because that's too much of a stretch, right? That's not a match. And remember, you're charging for the transformation, not for your time. Okay. That was a big one for me. Your prices reflect the transformation, not how much time it takes, not how many calls they get with you, not how much time you're in Voxer or wherever you are. It is the transformation. So a little prompt for you is, what would I charge if I knew 100% without a doubt that this offer was going to change her life? Like, what would you charge? And from there, this is what we came up with in my mastermind space. And you guys can play with this. And again, I've kind of played with it a little bit here and there. It is not foolproof, but this is a really great place to start. So here's what it looks like. And this is all linked inside the document for today. But basically, this was born from that question of like, wouldn't it be nice if there was a magic formula to figure this out when attempting to price a new offer? And like I said before, there are no rules. So this is going to be a good place to start. So the start here step is, what is your base rate for a 1 one-on-one coaching session. So maybe you could put whatever you want in there. You could put 150, you could put 50, you could put 35, like I did the first time I, charged a client $100, like whatever that base rate is for you, wherever you're comfortable. And then the first step, you go to step 1. Is this offer for one-to-one coaching? So if it's yes, then you're going to multiply that base rate by the number of sessions in the package. If it's not a one-to-one coaching offer, you're going to move to step 2 to adjust for a group. So then in step 2, we ask, is it a small or large group container? I just put this in here. This is all like subjective. You can change this out. Like small group, I look at it as 2 to 4 people. A medium group would be 5 to 9 people, and a larger group would be 10 plus. So what you're going to do, like if it's a medium group, let's just say, and again, you can adjust this. Maybe you feel like medium is, I don't know, 20 people or 3 people. Like you adjust that however you want. You're going to use your base rate with a 20 to 30% reduction per person. Okay, because it's less access, right? And as you move up to a larger space in these one-to-many spaces, people are going to get less access to you. So that's why, whoops, that should say 30. That is why we just reduce. I've never seen anything like this, and I've never heard it talked about it like this. And you can absolutely, like I said, adjust those numbers until you feel comfortable. And then you would go on to step 2. Are you including customized support outside of any live session? So if there's a Voxer that you're in, or Slack, or email, or Telegram, or a community space, you can add on 10 to 30% based on the frequency and like how responsive you're going to be to, of course. If you're not including that, you just keep the price above, and then you go to step 4. Is this offer designed to create a deep, long-term transformation? So you want to look at, like, again, usually like the longer term spaces are going to be longer term transformations, right? Because those are the things that take a little bit longer. If the answer is yes, you can go with what numbers you feel comfortable, and you got to kind of get the calculator out and kind of play with this, but you can add 20 to 50% for premium high value outcomes. These are usually things we're going to see in one-to-one coaching. There are things we're going to see in mastermind spaces, usually not things we're going to see in like a group program or a micro offer or a mini mind or a shorter term program. So if the answer is no, then you just move to the next step. Number 5 is, does the offer include workbooks, modules, templates, or resources? If so, you can add a flat rate based on how like robust those resources are. If not, you just go to step 6. We're almost there. Step 6 is, does it offer include outside costs? So like some people that do in-person workshops, they have food and beverages, or they buy tickets. If yes, you're just going to add the amount spent per person to the outside. For the outside cost, just add that per person. And then the final gut check here. I love these questions here, you guys. Does the price honor my time and energy? Does it reflect the transformation I'm facilitating? Does it feel a little stretchy, but also within integrity? Would I pay for this transformation being offered? And does this price make space for over delivering without burning out? Okay. Am I proud to say this price out loud? Those questions are like so good to ask once you've landed on a price. These are really going to help determine if you should leave it, adjust it. If yes, confirmed, yay. If no, we just take it up or down and then recheck the questions again, and not the whole thing, just these questions at the bottom. So that can be really, really helpful. Teddy, while you're here, do you have any questions about that?
No, that's really helpful. I think it's a really good way to look at it. And I like how it breaks everything down.
And again,
And
it's
sort
not,
of gives like a guide. Yeah.
it's not like it's not foolproof. So we have to like play with it. And we play with it in the mastermind too. And it actually, we're like, oh gosh, this is working. It's working.
Yeah. That's
Taking
awesome.
something out of it. Yeah. Okay, good. So let me keep moving here because I know we're pretty much out of time here. Okay, so pricing with confidence. It's good. And we just went over this document together. So that is in the doc link, so you can take that. Now, payment plans. Okay, I love a good payment plan, and I love it as far as being a client, because sometimes I want to do things and it wouldn't be possible for me to do them if there wasn't a payment plan. I also appreciate too, the pay in full. So you get to decide for your offers if you would like to include a payment plan. Now, I wouldn't necessarily like if you're doing, if it's like a mini something, if let's just say it's like I don't know, a one-off session or something, I wouldn't necessarily create a payment plan for that, but things that are ongoing and long-term, definitely can create a payment plan for that. And I've seen this done in different ways. My clients do it in all different ways. But the reason why you would offer a payment plan essentially is to, again, give people access and to make it more accessible and make it more possible for people to come into your space. The payment plans too, you also want to make sure, again, you do that little gut check at the end where you're like, okay, if I'm doing a payment plan and the payment plan is like, let's just say 2 monthly payments or whatever it is, do I feel good about that like price point and that amount coming into my account every month? Yes, like, and I've seen people do this in different ways. Like sometimes if people will do like a discount, a small discount for pay in full. Like if you pay in full, you get a little discount. Where the payment plans, like the more extended the payment plan gets, the higher the investment gets. So that could be an option too. I don't personally do that. I just basically choose like when we get into price phases. So like you guys have seen me do like pre-sale, early bird, and then regular bird. So I usually do the 4 price phases. What I start with is the pre-sale. So the lowest price that I'm going to go. And then I increase from there because I need to know that that lowest price is going to be like that I'm going to feel good about it. And I'm going to feel excited to deliver. And I'm also taking into account all of the things that we're going to do together, like the love, the care that I'm going to put into this program, the time we're going to spend together. All of those things have to be considered when you do decide. But as far as the payment plans go, I would say, like people have asked me before too, like, and I've done this before because I'm comfortable with this. I've had programs that last like a month and the payment plan is like spread out over 2 months. So they're essentially paying after the program ends. I'm okay with that. Like, I'm fine with that. It's okay. Some people are like, no way, it needs to be paid in full by the end of the program. And that's okay too. It's really just whatever you feel comfortable with. But I will say, like, once I started to narrow in on like who the person is and who she's not, like I haven't had any trouble with any type of payment plan, even if it's longer than the actual program lasts. So I suggest to doing, if you're going to give options, like there's something about the brain and like having 3, like 3 is a good number. So to have 3 options is a great, like, it's not too much. It's not like, it's not too much. It's not too little. Like it's the perfect amount for people to distinguish really quickly, like, oh, this one will work for me. So I would definitely recommend 2 to 3 payment plans. Yeah, and you can extend it longer. There's different ways to really get to make things accessible too, because I know sometimes like it's not always possible for people to come in. But again, if we go back to the beginning of this call and we're talking about diving into your secret sauce and really the transformation and you being able to message that, people are just going to be like, oh my gosh, yes, I want in on this because what you're delivering is so amazing, right? And you're really clear on how to talk about it. I would also suggest too, if you are doing like a payment plan, like I would frame it as this is to support you and make this possible. It's not necessarily a discount, right? So like we're never discounting anything. It's just being more supportive. Okay. Okay, we're almost there. We got 2 more slides. So naming your offer. So this is once you have the offer, you want to make your offer name memorable and not like really mysterious, right? Clarity over like being clever, I always say. Because again, we don't want people looking at the title or looking at the tagline and being like, I wonder what that is. Like we want them to know right away, like, oh my gosh, yes, this is what I need, this is what I want. Yes, yes, yes. And for things like like bigger spaces like mastermind or one-to-one coaching. Like I don't have a name for my one-to-one coaching. It's just called one-to-one coaching. So you don't have to name everything, but I would definitely suggest keeping it really clear, keeping it really aligned, and trying to make it as memorable as possible. Like we love a good alliteration around here. Launch Like a Boss is transformation based. So you can pull the final transformation and try to figure out a way to title it in that way so people know, like, oh, this is awesome. I know what I'm going to get when I walk out of the other side. It could be identity focused. So if it's more of like a mindset thing, a title like or an offer name could be like the Confident Coach Method or the Confident Coach. So you're understanding that like, oh, this is for coaches and I'm going to feel confident on the way out. And there's also like vibe based ones like aligned and booked, but I don't love that because I think you're like aligned with what, like booked with what, like what, but that's where you would expand a little bit more in the tagline too. Teddy, I would love for you to share if you're open to it. Do you have offers right now what are your offers?
So what I'm currently working on my very first offer, which is just one-on-one coaching. And I think, tell me if I'm getting like way too one-to-one in personal on this, but I really want to work with women. I think what the bottom line is I want women to have more joy um, through finding their own confidence and standing true in who they are. Because I think a lot of the stuff that I've seen from you and from the program lately is like, yeah, unraveling those layers. So, like, I want women to prioritize themselves, but why? Because I
Mhm.
want them to have energy. Why? Because I want them to be able to spend time with their kids. Why? Because I want them to enjoy the life that they have. And so that's sort of where I'm like dialing down to, and I'm still a little bit like lost in the messaging or even the exact like niche that is. Like, am I, but those are some of like the words and things that are coming up. I
No, that's
initially,
go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say like I initially, um, had been like thinking of like a chaos to confidence type name, but I don't know that describes exactly what I'm doing. And is a little bit edgy. So yeah, I don't have like a name yet, but that is the launch that I'm working on is that first initial like open slots of one-on-one coaching.
I love it. And I think that is a beautiful place to start. And I love that you're already like peeling back the layers. And I think the next step would be to peel back the layers even more. Just because like you're saying, okay, I want them to prioritize myself. Well, why? So they have energy. Well, why? Instead of just asking, well, why? Asking like, well, what will the energy give them? Like
Mm,
what will having the
hmm
energy be able to do? Because again, like I could go to like, I'm thinking like at my kid's school, like I could go to the pickup line at school and I could talk to all the moms and I could say, oh yeah, like I give my clients more energy.
hmm
They would be like, okay, like cool, like that sounds nice, like have a nice day. Or I could say like, oh my gosh, you guys, like I work with my clients. Like what I do is I help them have more energy. So like at this time of the day, like right now at 2 p.m. when we're all like in pickup line, like already exhausted and we still have all the other like mom duties to do for the rest of the day, that you actually feel like energized and excited about the rest of the day instead of just like, oh my God, crawling to bedtime. You see
hmm
how like that is messaging and that's specificity. That they're
hmm
gonna start and go, what? Like, I want that. Like, give me that. Here's
Yeah.
how do I get that? So it's just again continuing to pull, but this is a beautiful start. And I love that you're like,
Yeah.
but why? It's like you're like a 2-year-old, right? But why? Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And I think, no, that's really helpful. I guess my next question is like, when I first, a month and a half ago, right? Whatever, how many ever months I've been working on this, not very long. But what I did with my running business, which I know I had told you about in strength training, which was really about building women's confidence in themselves so that they could stand strong in who they are. And I still feel powerful about that. I'm not sure how the two connect, right? Like, is my niche trying to help women find their confidence, or is it finding their confidence so that X? I don't know if you have any like thoughts around that.
Yeah, so I would ask the first question I would ask you, I would be like, well, what is she coming to you like for a couple questions? What is she, and I know I'm not supposed to ask you, like, I'm not supposed to question stack, so it's going to be a bad example, but I just think about these things. So, what is she coming with you that she thinks she needs? Like, why is she coming to you in the first place? What does she think she needs? And then the
Uh-huh.
second question is what does that confidence essentially give her?
Mhm. Yeah, I'm just
Because
writing those down.
two
Yeah,
separate, I see that as two separate people or two separate clients, right? Like
right.
someone that's coming to you that knows she's like, maybe she was confident at one point in her life. Maybe it was before she was a mom or before she turned 40 or I don't know, like, all these things happen to our bodies or whatever. As far as
Mhm.
like, are you asking how they, okay, wait, reword it again. Ask me that again.
Yeah.
Say it again.
No, that was, I think when you asked the question, what does she think she needs? The immediate thing that came to me was release from burnout.
Mm, okay.
I do think the confidence question is separate, unless part of the burnout is because you're not being true to yourself and that's causing you exhaustion.
So it's burnout. And I think the byproduct of the coaching is the confidence, right? Because
Yeah.
as the coach, like the journey that she's going to go through, like she comes in and she's burnt out and she's feeling exhausted and she feels like crap. And then you do the work together and she's coming out of the other side confident.
Hmm.
But I think that question too, again, will be helpful. Like, what does she think she needs? What does she think? What is she coming to you essentially?
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
speak in our messaging to people that don't necessarily maybe know what the problem is, but they're feeling a certain way. Like, oh,
Hmm.
at the end of the day, I just like
Hmm.
look around and I have everything that I'm supposed to have and I checked all the boxes, but I still don't feel fulfilled and something must be wrong with me. Like
Hmm.
those things that you can tap into in the messaging. But I will say too, Teddy, that like this is such a beautiful start. And even if you just went, not just, but even if you went with what you said to me, like confidence, standing true to who they are, prioritizing yourself, even if you just started with those three, like
Hmm.
really kind of broad things, you could definitely, I think that would speak to people and you would get people
Okay.
like we talked about, like, let's see what happens. Let's see where this goes. And you're gonna find
Yeah.
that by taking that action and the clarity comes from coaching people around. Just start with those three things. Like start with that and
Yeah.
from there. And you'll get a clear
Okay.
if you go. But I was gonna say too, since we were talking about naming and you said chaos to confidence, I think that's super
Uh-huh.
cute. You could even, to make it more specific, you could even add like chaos to confidence for burnt out moms or for women's
Yeah.
certain way, just to make it a little bit more clear about like who it's for. But that could be really cute.
Yeah. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah. There was something else I came up with this morning, but now I'm totally blanking on what it was. But no, that's really helpful. And I think you have already helped me see that like you start somewhere and then you'll tease that niche out as because I hadn't until like just a little bit ago thought about like what do I want the person to look like? And even already like with my running business and stuff, I find so many people who say they want it but then don't do the work or say they want the and then don't follow through. And it's like, no, I want someone who's gonna follow through. And so it's looking at it from that perspective, it's helpful. And I feel like you probably realize that as you go, right? Like as you
Yeah.
start working with people. Yeah.
About that. Okay, so that's an interesting thing too, is if your person, if your person is a person who is like, I'm ready to do the work, I am all in, like that's just the type of person she is,
Hmm.
probably is actively looking for a solution to this
Hmm.
problem, right?
Hmm.
Or maybe
Hmm.
she doesn't know she has a problem, but she is still willing to do the work. I mean, it could go either way. Um, but yeah, it 100% is, and I wish, like I'm always like in these conversations, I'm like, I wish I could be in those moments with my clients where they're in this call on their calls with their people and they have that moment where it's like, oh, like, yes, this is it.
Yeah.
that's the only way that it comes. Like we can read
Yeah.
and we can put a Google Doc and imagine this person all we want, but until we're in it with people, it just becomes so much clearer and you just anchor to it so much
Yeah.
more. This is such
Yeah.
a you're way farther along at this point than I was. I was like,
Well, that's nice to hear.
so okay, so we are way over time here. Sorry.
No, thank you for taking that time. Yeah,
I didn't mean that for you. I meant that for me. 'Cause
I know.
I will go ahead and share the document unless, yeah, I'll share it. Do you have the whole doc for today?
No, because you know, when I logged off and logged back on it, yeah, but I'm sure you'll email it.
Okay,
Awesome.
there it is in the thing. All of the other documents are linked inside this one, so it's just all kind of in one spot in that one. But that's
Awesome.
I will make sure to get you set up with all the email information and everything you need.
Awesome.
Just reach out on Instagram. Our next call will be next Tuesday because Monday's Memorial Day. So
Mhm.
we'll do that. And then homework is just to go through the doc, play with it, brainstorm. If there's anything you want to share in Facebook, would love to hear all the things. And yeah, I'm so excited for you and for this journey together. It's already
Thank
been
you so much. Yeah,
You're welcome.
that's great. Thank you so much. Yeah.
so welcome. And I will get the replay and everything emailed out as soon as I can this afternoon.
Awesome. All right. Thanks.
You're welcome. Bye.
All right. Have a good one. Bye.